Hi guys, welcome to Grab a Bite, a series of videos that introduce academic words and phrases. A new video will be uploaded every Saturday and I hope that those videos will be useful for you in your IELTS test. Today's word is burst. This word keeps its spelling for both of its verb and noun form. Now let's talk about the various definitions of the verb burst. The first meaning of this verb is to break open or break apart suddenly. You can really feel it if you pronounce the word correctly. Burst, burst, burst. Can you feel it? Let's see. Suddenly, the airplane door burst open and a passenger fell out. I'm so sorry if the example was too dark, but it helped you remember better. Just me. Anyway, we often use the phrasal verb burst in or burst into in order to describe the act of suddenly entering a room or building without warning. Let's see how Dan Brown uses this phrasal verb in his famous novel, The Da Vinci Code.
Collet's words were swallowed by the alarm as Fash finally burst into the men's room with his gun drawn.
Right. The second meaning of burst is to feel a strong motion or strong wish to do something. An example in the Cambridge Dictionary for Advanced Learners is, I knew they were bursting with curiosity, but I said nothing. Again, Dan Brown used this verb to describe the state of emotion of T-Bing, a character in Da Vinci Code.
Aha! T-Bing burst in with enthusiasm. The fundamental irony of Christianity.
The sentence T-Bing burst in with enthusiasm means that T-Bing was displaying a strong feeling of interest in discussing the topic, and then he jumped in the conversation with enthusiasm. Okay, now let's move on to the noun form of burst. The first meaning of this noun is a sudden increase in something, especially for a short period. Here is a question in Cambridge IELTS 4, Test 4, Reading Passage 1. Performance has improved most greatly in events requiring an intensive burst of energy. The phrase intensive burst of energy refers to the phrase brief, explosive release of energy in the passage. As a result, the evidence for this particular question is located around this exact phrase. Another example for the noun burst in Cambridge IELTS 10, Test 3, Passage 1. Between 1650 and 1740, the population in Britain was static, but then there was a burst in population growth. The phrase a burst in population growth means there was a sudden increase, remember, sudden increase in the population growth, okay? Now the second meaning of the noun burst is when something breaks open and what is inside breaks out, like a burst in the water pipe. Now there are two idioms involving today's word. These idiomatic expressions are really handy for your IELTS speaking test. The first idiom is burst out laughing. To burst out laughing means to suddenly start laughing. Dan Brown wrote,
Sophie started for a moment and then burst out laughing.
He meant to describe the main character, Sophie, just suddenly started laughing. The second idiom is burst into tears. It means to suddenly begin to cry. And J.K.Rowling wrote in Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban,
Hermione burst into tears.
And we can also say burst into laughter. It is similar to the first idiom. Or burst into song. It means to suddenly begin to sing. Alright, so that's the end of our lesson today. I hope that you have learned something interesting. Remember to take notes and try to use today's word whenever you're practicing speaking.